Hi, Steve Foster here with another episode of Legends of the Highway, and we'll be examining the 1965 Ford Mustang that's been prepared for rallies, track sessions, and competition. So as we take a look at the engine, this 65 notchback is equipped with a small block Ford 289 high performance engine. Just like the Shelby's, it's got a 715 CFM carburetor, a Holly. It's got a dual point distributor, the big harmonic balancer. Chassis modifications include the Monte Carlo bar, also what's called an export brace. It's equipped with the classic Coney adjustable shock absorbers. This is a real Shelby GT350 fiberglass hood. The front bumper has been replaced with what's known as a GT350R, or a competition fiberglass front bumper. Factory grille, hella fog lights for those nasty Swiss Alps mornings. We've got American Racing, as I said before, torque thrust, 5 spokes. The other thing that's a necessity is the ARP competition wheel studs. So when this thing experiences cornering loads, these are much stronger than your standard Ford wheel stud. And they also promote easier installation of the wheel because they're a little bit longer. You can slide them on there, install your tires if you need to make a quick change. It's got a factory GT350 side exhaust, dual mufflers, crossover pipe, side exhaust. The rear is equipped with a Ford 9-inch, what's known as a locker. So the rear wheels are turning at the same time all the time. So it works great on the track. It works great in these canyon roads. It's a little clunky and bangy around town on a tight turn because the wheel is being forced to turn the same speed. It doesn't have a differential in the standard sense. This particular Mustang is unique in the sense that it's a low mile car. It's wearing its original paint. It's got an endless array of battle scars, dings, bruises, scrapes, and so forth because it's a veteran of multiple vintage car rallies and track sessions. So this has done 2- and 3-day rallies up through Mammoth Mountains, twisties, track sessions, and it's been a very reliable and fun car to drive. It's equipped with a Pro Car rally seat. It replaced the Ford factory seats. They had a GT350 competition seat, but that was essentially a fiberglass shell, which was okay for short sessions on the track, but not very comfortable on a 3- or 4-day rally. It's got the original wood Moto Lita steering wheel, similar to the type that was used on the Cobras and the Shelby GT350. The gauge pod in the interior is the same that's used in the 1965 Shelby. The glove box door, it's getting hard to see now, but it's signed by Carroll Shelby many years ago and it started to weather, but we've kind of left it as is because it fits the character of the car. This car was originally equipped with a Ford top-loader 4-speed transmission. This car, when it had that transmission, it was making too much noise and revving too high out on the highway on these long rallies. So recently it was converted to a T5 5-speed transmission, and of course we retained the original top-loader. But this makes it easy for relaxed high-speed cruising out on the open roads and stuff when you have 300 or 400 miles to cover in a day. So it works pretty well. It retains the stock factory pedals, shift boot, knob, and everything, but it gives you that extra gear for highway cruising. When we head back into the trunk, you'll see that we've equipped this car with a 25-gallon fuel tank, which is great for extended rallies and long days in the saddle where you don't want to have to stop for fuel all the time. Also, like the rally cars, it's got another American Racing 5-spoke wheel and tire strap down in the trunk in case you need to do effect a tire change out on the road. The batteries have been mounted in the right rear. It's better for weight distribution and it makes accessibility much better, and it frees up some space in the engine bay where we've installed a breather overflow tank and a couple other ignition boxes and so forth that weren't in the car originally. In addition to the 9-inch locker rear end, this car has the large Lincoln drum brakes in the back, which is what they ran in the Shelby GT350s because disc brakes weren't available in the rear at that time. It also has a Traction Masters traction bars, overriders, which prevent wheel hop under hard acceleration. There's a couple of subframe connectors that are welded in this car as well, all part of an effort to stiffen the chassis and make for more consistent cornering abilities for this car when it's under a load. The factory Ford mirror was replaced on the driver's side with a vintage British-made Talbot mirror, which was kind of the standard mirror for any sports car or sports racer back in the 60s and even up into the 70s. And they were found on everything from 911s to Ferraris to full-on race cars. Of course, there's a 6-point harness. It's installed in the car, shoulder, lap, and submarine belt, and that's good for when it's out running on the track. There's generally a requirement that you have to have a 6-point harness to run on the racetrack. It's also a little extra bit of safety if you're out running in the canyons and something were to happen. We had a fabrication shop in Upland weld in a roll bar. It's tied to the frame, front and back. It goes through the rear firewall, attaches to the upper frame supports in the trunk. It's all welded in, fits beautifully, and it didn't even affect the factory headliner, which is still intact and in place in this car. I hope you've enjoyed this little summary and discussion about the 1965 Ford Mustang that's been prepared for rallies, track sessions, and competition. Very similar to what Carroll Shelby did. It's very also little known that he built a couple of notchbacks back in '65 and ran them on the track. The fastbacks, of course, are far more famous and well known, but these were a vital part of early Shelby and Mustang history. Also, those rally successes and competition successes that they enjoyed in Europe with the Tour de France and other European events with the notchback. Very rare that they had fastbacks over there. So it's too bad that we weren't able to make it up to Newcomb's Ranch. Unfortunately, there was just too much snow for this car to get through, but I hope you've enjoyed what we've talked about, and please join us for our next episode of Legends of the Highway.